Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be cooking a seafood gumbo. Any good meal starts with good ingredients. That is really important when it comes to a gumbo. The meats are where the gumbo gets its flavor from. So if it's a chicken gumbo, sausage and chicken gumbo, you know, you're going to have those types of flavors. With a seafood gumbo, you're going to have the different types of seafood in there that's going to give your gumbo the flavor. So having good quality, flavorful meats is going to make a big difference on the taste of your gumbo and how it comes out. Now, growing up in the South, I'm accustomed to eating a gumbo that is really very liquidy. However, I have had gumbo in some restaurants that is more thick, like a stew would be. This is going to be a thinner gumbo. It's going to be pretty watery, but very flavorful and very good. So we're going to get started here. It's not that difficult to make. It just takes a little bit of time. And so let's get going.
So we wanted to let you guys know, to our first 1,500 subscribers, we're going to be doing a giveaway. Whoever the winner is will have the choice between either a nested backpack, which comes with a set of climbing sticks and a tree stand, or a top-of-the-line Reconyx trail camera. All you have to do to get entered to win is subscribe to our channel and email us a screenshot that shows that you're subscribed. And then whenever we're ready to hold the contest, we'll have a deer head on display and some trail camera pictures of it. And then you guys will get to estimate the score of the deer, and whoever's the closest will get to choose between the nested backpack or the top-of-the-line Reconyx trail camera. So here are some of the ingredients that we're going to be using to make the gumbo today. So this is from Best Stop. It's a meat market in South Louisiana. They make good Tasso, sausage, and Andouille, things of that nature. So starting off here, we have pork Tasso. Here's some of their Andouille, and then we have some smoked pork sausage. We're going to be using a pre-made roux made by Savoies. So here we have some rock crab claws that we boiled in a recent seafood boil, some crawfish tails that were also boiled in the seafood boil, and we've got some boiled shrimp that were boiled in the seafood boil. Next, we've got some of the bigger claws that we saved from the crawfish from the seafood boil. And lastly, we've got some lump crab meat and some crab meat claws. This is blue crab meat. You can use snow crab or king crab, whatever you can find. So we boiled all of our shrimp, our crab claws, and our crawfish in this seasoning. So if you're gonna be looking at doing a seafood boil, we highly recommend trying out this. So we got some parsley, some bell peppers, jalapeños, celery, green onions, some onions, garlic, bay leaves, cayenne pepper, and some salt.
Okay, so the first step is going to be dissolving our roux mixture in our pot with the water. I've already put 1 quart in my pot. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my roux mix into that water, dissolve it down, then I'll add the rest of my water. Okay, we're going to let this heat up and start dissolving our roux. While that's dissolving, we're going to start cutting our vegetables. Okay, our water's starting to heat up, and as you can see, our roux is starting to dissolve. We just keep stirring that around as the water heats up and get it all fully dissolved. The roux is what gives the gumbo this rich color. It's basically just a mixture of flour and oil, so it doesn't really add any flavoring. Okay, so that makes 6 quarts of water. Okay, so that's what we end up with, a nice rich brown coloring, and it'll probably get a little bit darker depending on the ingredients that we put into our gumbo. That's going to determine the darkness. You can also darken it up by adding a little more roux mix into it, but myself personally, I think that's good. We're going to add these 3 medium onions in here, and we're going to chop those up. So we're going to finely dice up these, just half a jalapeno. We want to get it nice and diced up. Three stalks of celery, 2 bell peppers, 3 medium onions, and a half a jalapeno. I'm just going to put that on the side. So now we're just going to dissolve our roux mix in there, and we're going to bring this to a very low boil for about 30 minutes. We're just going to cut up our smoked sausage. Good old andouille. Going to give it some nice flavor. There's our pork tasso we're going to add in. We're going to take our boiled shrimp, get them ready. Okay, we're going to add some bay leaves in there and let those cook down. And then before adding our vegetables and meat, we're going to remove the bay leaves out of the gumbo. I like to go through my crab meat and make sure there's not a lot of shells in it. It's hard to get them all out, but we're going to try to get most of the shells out. This looks like some really pretty meat, so I'm not seeing much shells. We're going to add in these 4 pods of garlic. We're just going to mince them up pretty fine. We got our andouille smoked sausage, some garlic, shrimp, onions, bell pepper, celery, jalapeno, and smoked tasso. Here we got our crab meat and our crawfish claws. All this is going to be ready to go in except the crab meat. We're going to put that in last because we don't want it to break up into really small pieces. We want it to kind of hold together. Okay, we're going to put in our rock crab claws, crawfish tails. Now we got to kick that fire up and bring her to a boil. A cup of green onions chopped up. Okay, and then we got a cup of parsley chopped up. Put that in there. Now, when cooking a seafood gumbo, not everyone's going to have the ability to boil their crawfish and pick their own meat. But I will tell you, if you do have the opportunity to do it that way, it's going to be a little more tasty. It's going to have all that flavoring from the seafood boil in it. However, it's still going to be good if you don't have the ability to boil your own seafood before putting it in there. Any of that stuff that you can boil yourself, say maybe the shrimp or the rock crab claws, I would recommend boiling that ahead of time, the day before or whatever, because again, it's going to add some flavor to your gumbo. It's just going to make it that much better. Okay, we're going to add our crab meat in now, gently, along with our green onion and parsley. Okay, so now that I've put my crab meat in there, I'm not going to stir this too aggressively I don't want to break that crab meat up too much. We're going to let that simmer low to medium heat for another 10 or 15 minutes while we boil some rice. Man, that smells good. We're going to add a little bit of Tony's to this, not too much. You can just use this and season it to taste. You might also use some cayenne, depending on how spicy it is. Man, that's some tasty stuff, I'll tell you what. It's hard to beat a good seafood gumbo. See all that crab meat in there and a little crawfish tail. Man, a little piece of sausage. Very flavorful. If you don't like that, something's wrong with you.
So that wraps it up. We got the seafood gumbo all cooked up. Hopefully you enjoyed this recipe. The full recipe will be linked in the description. Leave a comment down below if you try this recipe and what you think about it. So stay tuned and remember, hard work is more reliable than luck.